Do you hear me now? Can you guys hear sound? There you go. Does that mean we are good? Ah, nice. Okay, so we have sound now. This is good. So what I was talking before, you guys had no idea what I was saying. I was just moving lips. Okay, cool. Hey, Mitch, how you doing? Hey, Blake, how you doing? Thanks, Blake. Appreciate that. And thank you, everyone. 1,500 subs is amazing. I know I haven't been the best YouTube content creator for you guys. In the last week, I really have just been super busy growing the different businesses that I've been involved in, that I haven't had a chance to really pump out a lot of content for you guys. I have done a lot of stuff in the last month, let's say, getting a couple of businesses off the ground, and I've overcommitted myself to a lot of different things, and so I've been really busy trying to just catch up on all of those things that I've been doing. So thank you everyone for jumping on. It's really great to see a lot of the familiar faces that join every single Wednesday. You guys are my loyal subs, and I appreciate it so much. That's why I do this for you guys, so I can answer any questions you guys have. Hey Noel, how you doing? Good to see you on as well. Yeah, so just updating you guys on what I've been up to. A ton of stuff. So for the long weekend for Canada Day, I went away, and my daughter actually stayed with our in-laws, with their grandparents. And yes, definitely I'll get to your question there. We can talk about renovations and all that sort of stuff. Make sure I'm coming in loud and clear, because we had a little bit of an issue with the lapel mic, but it sounds like you guys can hear me loud and clear now. So let's make sure that you guys can hear me. So I went and dropped her daughter off at her in-laws, which was the first time she's been away from both of us for more than one night. And we went camping and just went down the Grand River, went tubing with 20 friends, a bunch of real estate investors and stuff like that. It was a really cool experience, really enjoyed that. So I was off the grid, pretty much was disconnected from all media for about 3 days there. So I apologize for not getting the video out there on Friday like I wanted to. I did drop one on Monday for you guys. Going to try to keep producing content for you guys, and Wise Wealth Wednesdays will always be on every single week. I have been just crazy busy. So you guys want to know what I've been up to? I bought 5 properties in the last month, and I bought 3 properties in the last week. It has been crazy. I've been seeing a lot of deals, walking through a lot of private deals, a lot of MLS showings too. Here in London, Ontario, it's the summer heat. So it's been like 32 degrees Celsius outside. Everyone gets sluggish, gets slow. Everyone goes away for Canada Day. Maybe they have relatives in the States and they go away, for you guys, Independence Day and stuff. So it's just that holiday season. Everyone's been away and the listings have been dropping, and there's not as many people jumping at the properties. So it's that time of year, it's that cyclical time here in Ontario where you can sometimes find deals. And so I'm going to go hard and capitalize on those deals, right? When we talk about how do you make money in real estate, a good real estate investor not only has expertise and knowledge, but they capitalize on information asymmetry. And the more you know that other people don't know, and the more that you hustle, the other people don't hustle, the more you make in real estate, right? So this week's been crazy busy. Like I say, I got a couple offers accepted last night on a duplex on a property, another duplex, not legal, but I'm going to work on getting her there, getting it legal. One's a student rental, one is just a family rental, East London, near Western University, a couple different areas and all that kind of stuff. But 5 deals in the last month, and it looks like I'll be closing on one of them with a joint venture partner, and then a couple other ones we're buying with investors. So you guys don't really know what I've been up to, but I said that a lot of people who do this, right? Some professional, fund managers and people who have been, exploring working with investors and what is the most effective way to work with investors. And the reason I'm doing this is because I can only grow so much myself. Like I can't get to 1,000 properties without the help of investors. And so what is the best way to work with investors to buy real estate? And so that's sort of where I came up with this 2 or 3 tiered structure. We have now, I'm going to release very soon the name of the company, but we have a property management company. We're just getting the articles of incorporation put together. So I do have now a property management company. Partner and I did that together. We're going to likely in the next few months expand to a point where we need to hire someone full-time to handle some of the load with that. We do have a few guys, like a lot of really good subs working with us. So there might be a construction business that's coming together as part of the full service offering, right? So property management and then the actual renovating and construction sort of company, if you will. Right now I've been using a lot of sub-trades. So I've got a list of 10 guys that I can call at a moment's notice to come out and renovate and that sort of thing. And that's been working well for me. But if I could actually own a company and have employees, that would be a much more sustainable approach. To guarantee the cost side and everything like that. So the property management company is the big one that we're launching. So we are taking on clients, which is really cool, getting the chance to manage properties that aren't my own, but manage them like they're my own. So that's been kind of a really cool experience. And investors have sort of been tapping us on the shoulder, and my partner and myself. And a lot of people are reaching out to me and saying, Mike, like, you're finding these properties that are $200,000 and they're renting for $2,300, $2,400 a month. So, and $300,000 properties that are renting for $3,500, $3,800 a month. And you're getting over 1% roll still. How are you finding these deals? What are you doing differently to the properties? I want to get a taste of what you're doing. So can I partner with you in a joint venture partnership? Or could you help me buy a property? And in return, like if I'm the passive investor, the model we've been using most recently, we have 3 models that we use. So sometimes I partner in a corporation. Sometimes, there's different ways you structure every deal based on what the investor is looking for. But one of the ones that works really well is one where, they buy the entire property, right? And I only take a percentage of any gains made. So I might take, say, 30% of any appreciation, net of any renovation costs and whatever. So their cost base is guaranteed. I don't get anything unless the property makes money. So I'm going to call them up and say, hey, I found a deal. This property is $200,000. I think it's worth $300 if we spend 10 renovating it, and I can get you $3,000 a month in rent. And they're like, wow, like, you just brought me the deal. You've got all the people management. You're going to take care of everything. You're going to place the tenants. You're going to manage it. The tenants don't even have my phone number. Like, I don't even, I'm from like North Bay, and I don't even want anyone to ever call me. I just want checks every single month, and I want to see this property appreciate. I can get a mortgage. I'm at a point where I can sign off on the dotted line and get a mortgage. I got a down payment, but I just don't want to be managing it, and I don't want to be coming to London. Will you take care of everything? And I'm like, hey, I could do this. There's so many bad managers in London that I could excel. I could have a competitive advantage by doing this, right? And so we did it. We started a couple of companies up. We've incorporated, and 5 deals already. 5 people have poked us, and I got about 5 more investors now that have poked me. So if you guys are interested in investing, feel free to reach out. We can have a conversation on that. Jonas, hey, good to see you. You're one of the regulars. I'm glad you made it on, like always. Yes, Deca Millionaire in the making. I think it's quite possible. It's actually quite feasible to reach. I was running the numbers, right? Because you guys know I'm 25, so I'm going to be 26 in November, and I'm thinking, how long would it take me to get to 100 million? How long would it take me to build 100 million net worth? And I'm like, if I just get 14% on my current net worth, right? That's like terrible. Like, you guys know I get like 50% return on investment every year with real estate investing. So if I had 13, that'd be like, I'm 4 times less efficient. Hey, thanks for jumping on. Glad that you made it on after work there. So what's the minimum to invest? At the end of the day, it just depends on the deal, right? So certain deals, you need like the 20% down payment type thing, and you need to be able to finance it. I'd be happy to go on with you, but typically the partner I'm investing with has a stable day job. They can use that income and their decent credit score to get the mortgage. So that's one of the big pieces. They get the mortgage, they buy the property. Oftentimes they're on title. They don't even want me on title. They want to own the whole property. They want me to be more of a manager, and they'll bonus me effectively based on how well the property performs. So I only get paid if I deliver results. If I don't deliver, I get paid nothing, and they get the property, and I end up basically doing all the work for nothing. So that's sort of the structure we've got right now, and I'm doing that mostly right now because I want the investors to feel comfortable, and so I'm giving them guarantees, right, that like the property's a good deal, right? It sort of depends on the deal, right? Typically, we're taking 7-8% of gross, which on a single family house is like $150 a month. Really, the property management and the construction, like, people talk about making money in property management, making money in construction. You don't really make money in construction and in property management. You trade time for money. And that's not what I'm about, right? The goal is not trading time for money. The real money is going to be made with me developing these relationships with investors, right? And when we can build a lot of properties, if I'm taking a small percentage of huge equity gains on a BRRRR property, right? Let's say we buy a property for 100, it refinances for 200, the investor makes $100,000 in the refinance, they might kick me back 10 or 15 or $20,000, right? As a bonus for delivering that great deal in their hands below market value, and then honoring on everything I said I could do, right? So that's been sort of a way that I think that the property management and the construction are lost leaders. I don't really, like, I'll break even, I'll make like $20, $30 an hour. It's not really great. I'd like to get employees and systems in place so the properties can be managed not by me, because my time is best spent finding deals, managing at a high level the sub trades. Maybe I'll intervene if there's a real issue at a property, like something really bad has happened, I'll intervene. If it's going to landlord tenant board, I'll probably intervene and help through that process. But ideally, I'm going to have, and I have a few people that I'm thinking about, but I'm going to have a chance to hire someone, which will be a really cool experience. And I'm going to try that online resume experience potentially, where people can submit and come and get mentored, right? Thanks, Jonas. I appreciate that. 23 people on, 23 likes. I'm glad that everyone's joining it and joining me today for the Wise Wealth Wednesday. If you guys have questions, feel free to shoot them down here. It really is. I'm going to get through all of these questions. I guarantee you we'll go back up. And when we have a dull moment, I'm done kind of just rambling on about what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks. We will definitely get into each and every question. And oftentimes I'll get down into the trenches on a question. You guys got to like a fishing rod, you got to bring me back up. Like, Mike, you're down in the trenches. Let's get back up to the high level. And that's what you guys are here for, to rein me in and ask the questions and get that information out of me in a structured approach as we can ever kind of get there. So I saw there's a question come up. I don't know what worst advice ever. I haven't read that question yet. Anyway, so basically what I'm saying is the property management is right now I'm seeing as a loss leader. We can make a little bit of money in property management, but not really. At 100, 150 bucks a house, it's not really the bread and butter. I mean, the idea is that we can get people, we can hire employees that'll take care of most of the work and sort of just break even. The real money is going to be in developing the relationships with the investors, right? And effectively the debt blitz. I love that name. That's good. It's a good one. Not all debt, I hope. Just the bad debt, not the good debt. Not the debt that's tied to cash flow producing assets. Yeah, we'll figure out if that is bad advice. I have to go back and scroll on my phone and find out what the question was because I was in the middle of a rant. But yeah, so I got this plan. I laid it out like I'm 25 right now, and by 55, I could have $100 million. Like if I just grow like 13 to 15% every single year, which is like easily doable. I think from at least 10 million, it's doable. I think at a certain point, you have scale issues, and then you have to buy apartment buildings, and apartment buildings don't cash flow the same way smaller family properties do. You can buy apartment buildings that are under rented and need renovation, and then you can basically, like, your margins are a lot thinner, but the scale of the deal is so big that you make money. So instead of making 40% on a $300,000 house, I'm going to make 10% profit on like a $2 million deal. And so 10% of $2 million is still $200,000. It's not a bad overall gross, right? I'll get to that in a second. I'll answer your question, East Coast, about why I think apartment building investing and commercial investing, so anything above sixplex, because you can still get residential mortgages on 4, 5, and sixplexes. Why I think that strategy is better than the commercial strategy, and we'll talk about some of the pros and cons. It typically comes down to like higher expenses related to property taxes in my area specifically. Apartment buildings get destroyed. The property tax levies are insane. Comes down to like a lot of overhead expenses as well. The margins are just tighter, and you're competing with institutional money. So institutional money, when a REIT, like a real estate investment trust, gets $100 million from a big company like Sun Life, they have certain stipulations on what they can do with that money, and they can only buy certain types of buildings. So you're competing with institutional money, and the cap rates tend to be lower. So that's just, we'll get into that in a second. But I want to finish my rant here about what I've been up to and letting you guys know. So 5 deals, like I said, crushed 5 deals in the last month, and I think it's a record for me. I think last year I did 4 deals in 1 month, and it was like 3 in 1 weekend. And so this is the record for the most I've acquired in a month. And the month span since I started buying these 5 isn't done yet, so maybe I'll crush 6 or 7. Could you imagine though if I kept up at 6 or 7 deals a month for like a year's period, right? There's 70 or 80 properties. Could you imagine the money I'd be making for investors, right? And if I make someone $200,000, I can guarantee you that check's coming back to me to buy more properties, right? So it's sort of one of those things that if you can prove yourself and you can show that you really know what you're doing, and you provide that full service, right? I'm going to do everything for them. I'm going to do everything from placing the tenants to managing all the renovations to keeping the property up as if it's my own with a vested interest, because I'm vested in the property growing in value. I make most of my money when the property grows in value. I make nothing if it doesn't grow in value. So if I don't bring a deal to someone that's 20% or 10% under market value, or a plan where I can increase the market value by 20 or 30%, then really, what am I doing, right? Why am I wasting time? So I don't want to waste anyone's time. I don't want to buy turnkey properties that don't really have any upside for investors, unless that's their strategy. If an investor comes to me and says, Mike, I just want the best possible cash flow from day one. I don't want to renovate. I don't want to have those couple of months where we have vacancy. I just want to go straight right off the bat, rent it from day one. We can find those too. 20% of the properties in London are good, so that just means 80% are not good. I have to help them avoid that 80%, right? And a lot of real estate agents just get paid on selling, right? And a lot of property managers just get paid on gross rent, right? And so that's and they get paid to place a tenant. They get 1 month's rent to place a tenant. And so their vested interest is not in you actually succeeding. They don't care if your property appreciates. They don't care if they put a bad tenant in that destroys things. They're not on the line, right? So that's not aligning your interests as an investor with what you want from a property manager. So I would say if you're looking to invest with someone, make sure that they have an active vested interest in the property's value long term. They're going to make sure that they spend the money wisely, they make the strategic renovations. They're going to not only help the rent, but also help the resale value of the property and maintain that property. I'm going to put in a good tenant that's going to care for this property, because in 3 years when we go to sell, or 5 years when we go to sell, or go to refinance in 5 years, I'm getting a cut of that refinance, right? So it's one of those things where, hey, Paul is going to be one of those 5 deals actually that we're going to be closing. So excited for that, Paul. Get that financing together. I can't wait to hear and hope things went well with that. They wouldn't let me in for the appraisal, so this one's been a really weird one. We'll talk offline about what's going on with this one. I've had great resistance getting it. I like to show my properties before they close. So on day of close, I got it rented right away. A lot of people don't put those conditions in the offers where they get the chance to go back through the property. We do have 3 more walkthroughs in this property. So I'm going to get those 3 walkthroughs. I'm going to get tenants through there. We're going to have it rented on day 1. I don't want to show the property after I close on it. Then you have a month of vacancy. Let's show it right when the people are living there. Get it rented out from day 1. So I'm going to get to some of these questions here. What are your thoughts on real estate investing courses? There are a lot of great courses out there, and there are a lot of crap courses out there. I think that you can get a lot more value from going out and doing than you can from paying someone, from learning from someone who, you get some value from learning from someone, but I think the best way to do it is go to a local networking event for real estate. Find a couple of guys who have 5, 10 properties who are doing this right now in the trenches, and take them for lunch, right? And then offer your time. Say, hey, I would love, you're ripping up some floor, one of your properties, you're turning over a unit. I would love to come and just follow you around. Like, can I help you rip out carpets? And I've done that myself even. And I've gone to properties and said, hey, let's go rip out some carpet. I would love to just learn from you. And the guy's like, hey, free labor? Sweet. Someone to keep me company while I'm getting this unit turned over? Sweet. And if they're at the point where they're not even doing the work anymore, that's more where I'm getting to, is where I'm not doing as much of the work anymore myself. And I got people in place that I'm sort of managing the job in general contracting. Maybe you want to come with me and learn and see how I do it, right? A lot of people, I've had 12 people already come check out some of my properties, follow me around, and just learn for the day. And I've even had one that stayed over at my house for the night, and I sort of mentored them for a day. That sort of thing, right? As long as you can find a way to add value to that person's life that kind of offsets the inconvenience of you having to, show that person what you're doing, because it slows you down a little bit. But as long as you're giving back in some way, right, that adds a ton of value, I think. And so that's sort of one way I'd say, instead of investing in a real estate course, some of these Keyspire, I'm not going to say any specific course, because there's a lot of different courses, and I don't know a lot about each of the individual courses, and there are a lot, and I've seen a lot of them out there that exist. They're very expensive, and they don't, I think, teach you what it's like to be in the trenches. And I think that's where most of the value comes from, is being in the trenches and talking to guys who are actually doing it. That's where I got most of my value and learned most of my stuff. I've actually ripped some courses off for free online and kind of perused through them. And friends of mine have bought these courses, and I've looked through the packages that they have. There wasn't a ton of insight. Having done 5 or 6 rental properties and burrs and stuff, I was like, I know everything that this course is talking about. There's not a whole lot of extra value there. So yeah, most of what I've learned, I would say, get out there and buy a property. If you're going to spend $15,000 or $20,000 on coaching or mentorship, take that 15 or 20 grand and buy a $100,000 house and just start renovating the house, and bring people by, bring trades by, and learn how to renovate, and go to local real estate networking groups. Go to biggerpockets.com. Reach out to guys like myself or guys like me 2 years ago. 2 years ago, if anyone would reach out to me, I would have had the time in my calendar to go check out their property. Now I'm inundated with messages, and I do try to meet with as many people as I can and check out their projects. But yeah, finding someone who you can sit down with and really just have them throw ideas at you. Hey, what if you added a bathroom on the 2nd floor? Would that add some resale value? And a friend of mine recently just did that. Shout out to Tom. I'm glad he took my advice and added that 2nd bathroom on the 2nd floor, because he's gonna get an extra $100 a month in rent. Cost him a couple grand, and it's gonna be huge. I think a huge resale value, probably 15, 20 grand resale value to add a 2nd full washroom to this property. One on each floor is so key. No one wants to go downstairs to go to the washroom. If you're on the 2nd floor in the master bedroom, you gotta have that washroom up there on the 2nd floor. So just some strategic renovations sometimes you can do that, and sometimes you don't think of it. Even myself, I like to pride myself on the 3 things I'm really good at are, I'm the most frugal, dollar utilizer you'll ever meet. I can find drywall for $5 a sheet when everyone else is paying it for $9. I can negotiate them to deliver it on site and drop it off. I can find trades that'll work for $20 an hour when everyone else is paying $40. And it's because, I'll find their angle. You got to find what the person's looking for. Sometimes the guy just wants, for 2 days, he just wants some cash money, do a quick job, whatever, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you can work with a guy and get a good deal on something. So one thing I'm really good at is frugality, right? I'm really good at finding deals on everything that I'm good at buying properties under market value. I'm good at renovating them under market value, the labor, the materials. I'm just really frugal. So cost control is like my best thing. A lot of people let costs balloon, let them get out of control. I'm very tight on the bottom line. Like that's been my key success factor. If I make $1 million, I'm spending like 100. So my margin's like 900 because I'm just so frugal. A lot of guys will let the costs get out of hand. And I think that you can still make a ton of money in real estate as a flipper or something, letting costs, creep up. But, that's just been something I'm really good at, is keeping the bottom line really tight. Other couple things that I've always found, really, really valuable is my ability to find deals too. Like I'm really good at finding deals and managing, bringing people together has been something that I've been able to sort of do. And maybe that's because the third thing is like that I'm really high energy. So I'll just work harder than everyone else. When everyone else goes to bed at 10, I'm still up till 3. And so I don't know if it's just like the more time you put into something, the better off I think the better result you're gonna get. And once you reach that, 10,000 hours of mastery, it really is one of those things where it just sort of, as soon as you have that 10,000 hours of mastery, it just blows up. Your skill level gets to that point where you're just like, you're out there, you're a hunter, and you're just like, you see the gazelle and you're like, bam, bam, bam. Whereas when I was starting out, it was like, I would see a gazelle and I would watch it pass me by and be like, I don't know if this is the right one. I'll wait for the next one. So it's more that mindset, right? Knowing that I can just, if I see something, I know just to jump on it really quick and I know to take advantage of that. I'm going to jump into the comments there and try to hit a lot of these up. Let me know what you guys think. Am I crazy? Does anyone have any experience on starting these tiered structures? I'm going to have a company that owns the property, theoretically, one company that owns the shares of that company, and then a property management company, maybe even a construction company. So 4 potential businesses. Very feasible for me to get to 1,000 properties in a 25-year span at the current growth rate. Kind of crazy, eh? I don't know. Should I do that? Do I want to do that? Do I want to just sit back and retire? I don't think so. But I like mentoring you guys, and a lot of people are messaging me and they just don't want to they don't want to manage the deals themselves, or they don't know how. And so I guess getting back to that real estate investing question and kind of capping that off, I think if you find someone who's really good at what they do, you find someone who's got like 25 properties or even like 10 or 5 properties or even 4 properties, they've been doing this for a while, and you say, hey, I'd like to joint venture with you. Like, let's buy a property together. I will do all of the work. Like, if you help me get through this deal, be the expertise, I will happily take half the deal and I will do like 80% of the work. I'll be there laying floors, we manage everything. I just want your guidance. Like every time I have a problem, I just want to message you. If someone came to me right now with that deal, and like people have come to me with that deal, and I took someone up on that actually. I let someone buy one of my properties who made that proposition to me. I sold them half of my property, and right now they take care of everything on that property, and it goes very well. I'm happy to give up half of the deal, and I gave it to them at a really good cost because they were going to take all the effort and the energy. And so you'll find a real estate investor who's maybe an expert at what they do, right? And they have that expertise. And if you're worried about that expertise, you partner with that person. You say, hey, let's do it together. And that person will be your mentor effectively. And you will learn a hell of a lot more in one joint venture partnership with someone who's good than you will from a real estate investing course that costs $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. So yeah, even if you take a little bit less of the deal and maybe you put in way more work than the other partner, it's basically chalk it up to like education costs. Like maybe you made $10,000 less than buying the house by yourself, but by partnering with this mentor, you learned a ton. And so I've even done that myself and thought, that $10,000 was pure education costs, let's call it, or opportunity knocks, or you learn the lessons the hard way. Those lessons are the ones you learn the most. And when you have skin in the game and you're actually with the real property, I think you learn way more, and you're way more interested in actually absorbing and applying what you're learning. But let's start hitting some of these questions. We got a lot here, and I want to have everyone's question. I want to do a live Q&A. You guys are all on here, and it's so amazing. I'm so thankful that everyone's jumped on here. Like, this is amazing. Okay, can you talk about reno rebates and deductions? Okay, so Michael Chung, that's a good question. I don't know specifically what you were looking for, reno rebates. I think you're talking about Canada. They're probably probably in California too, I would assume, because they're a relatively socialist state. There are programs out there that will pay you as owners of properties to renovate them and make them. Hey, I just saw your question come up there. Juan Carlos Cruz. I will get to your question in just a sec. Just hang on. I'll get there, I promise. I'll share some advice with you. Specifically about, I lost my train of thought now. Okay, rental rebates. So you have in a province, or in a state, in a country, often the government will incentivize, and these programs exist, but like no one's taking advantage of them. And you just go online, you can find these programs that exist, and they'll pay you to renovate properties. So windows right now, there's a program on Green Ontario where you have $500 rebate per window that you install with a registered contractor that was a triple glazed window, so it could survive the winters and whatever. It's super energy efficient and whatever. So you put those windows in. I was getting them installed for like $600 a window. Installed for $600. It's supplied and installed from a guy. And I had him do like 100 windows. I picked all my properties and he did all of them. And 100 windows, you're getting like $50,000 in rebates back, and it's costing you 60 grand out of pocket. Can you imagine? It's costing like $900. It was costing me $900 to do like 10 windows on a property. That's $90 a window after the rebates. So that's an example of a great rebate program. There was a program where you used to get furnaces rebated here, and it still exists actually, and it exists in Ontario still. You get $1,000 for a high efficiency, 95% efficient furnace, gas furnace. You get $250 if the motor in it is super, like the electricity usage is variable speed, so it kind of puffs there instead of just kicking on and off. It's always on, continuous. Way more efficient. You get like $250 for that. It worked out like $1,500 for a furnace, and I had guys who were installing furnaces for like $2,200. So I put a brand new furnace in a unit in a house for like $900 out of pocket after the rebates. And so if you think of the actual gas and hydro costs, because hydro costs more than gas does, because the fans on the furnace to push the forced air through the house is actually a greater expense. The electricity cost here in Ontario is really high. So that's something to think about. I think the hydro cost and the gas cost savings between an old model and the brand new efficient models was like $50 a month or something. And so if you do the math on that, in like 2 years, your furnace is fully paid off. And furnaces are a terrible investment because if you put a new furnace in, it doesn't add any resale value to a property. Certain things you can do to a property don't add resale value. And a furnace is one of those things where you won't get a higher price for the property, but they'll be more confident in buying the property. So they'll say, oh, it's nice that it has a new furnace. I like that. Like I'll pay the $200,000, but I won't pay you $203,000 or $204,000 for a new furnace. So that's one of those things where certain items add a lot of value, furnaces don't. Windows sometimes don't. Depends how bad the windows are. If they really help the curb appeal, they can add a ton of value. So anyway, those are some rebate examples, rental rebate examples. What else? There's tons of programs out there, guys. Like insulate attics. I was getting like cost. I was insulating a full attic, blowing into R50 insulation, and the government was paying for the whole thing. I was insulating walls in my properties, basements. I was refinishing basements. I would get the basement because it's wet and moldy. I'd waterproof it, and then we'd spray foam the whole basement or whatever. And we would get back the cost of the spray foam. So I'd insulate the whole basement for free. And I was doing it anyway because you have to insulate to code once you ripped everything out and refinished it. So like a good percentage of my basement refinish was paid for by Ontario government programs, Canadian programs. So they do this because they want to reduce the carbon emissions. So a lot of states are going and offering, and provinces and countries are offering these rebates. And a lot of property owners I talk to, like, yeah, I just did all the windows in my house. And I'm like, oh, did you use the Green On program? Or the Union Gas Incentive Program, or it's like 3 programs. I'm like, did you use those? Did you get an audit done before and after? I'm like, oh no, I didn't know that existed. And it's like, man, that was an easy $6,000. That could have cranked your ROI on your project if you just look for that one little angle. And so, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, getting in the trenches and talking to guys who are doing this. And not everyone does it well. I know some guys who have like 20 properties who are just inefficient as hell. And they just don't have really great systems at all, but they make money, right? Instead of making 50 grand a property, they make 20 grand a property, and they're still rich, they're still doing well, but they just don't know about these systems. So just talking to as many people as you can, go out to networking events. Your network is your net worth. Like the 10 people you associate yourself with, studies have shown the 10 people you associate most with and spend the most time with, those 10 people that you surround yourself with, if you take their net worths and you average them over a 5-year period, your net worth will be within like 20% of their net worth. So if you hung around multi-millionaires, you hung around like decamillionaires all day long, and that was your only friend base and your only family base, you will become a decamillionaire in 10 years, like without a doubt. What'll happen is if you don't end up growing with them, those friends will probably drop you. So then you'll end up associating with people who are like yourself. But if you continue to be like the people who you're surrounding yourself with, and that's why I try to surround myself with great people, because I found that even 2-3 years ago, I was the lone wolf, and I found a lot of these guys in London, Ontario, and on the internet and stuff, that became mentors to me. And a lot of them are like good friends now, on the same plane, or maybe I'm a little bit ahead of them now, or whatever. All of those people, they're such, like, I surround myself with these go-getters, these guys who are, and these girls too, and ladies, these men and these ladies who are just insane, looking for rich friends. I'll be your friend, I'll be your online friend, I'm here for you. Just surround yourself with, even if they're not wealthy, people have that mindset. The wealth mindset where they're just out there hustling and working really hard. friends of mine will call me like, man, I picked up this deal over like downtown, blah, blah stuff, and they'll tell me details. And like, it's not that I'm jealous, but it just gets me cranked up. Like I hear the deal, and I'm like, I get off the phone with them, I'm like, man, like my good buddy X is just killing it. Like now I gotta go kill it. I gotta get another deal. And so a lot of my motivation has been from just friends getting new deals, and I'm like, oh, you know, if they got a deal, I can get a deal. Or I hear their angle, their strategy as an investor, because, you know, let's go. And I talk about this again and again, and I'm gonna make a video just on this because I think it's really important. Real estate investing, you make all of your money on information asymmetry. That's how I make my money. Information arbitrage. That's all it is. So the more ears, the more people you're talking to, the more ears you have, the more feelers you have in the market, the more agents you've called and talked to, the more investors. Like I'll go on Kijiji and I'll hit up like 25 people looking to sell properties, and one of them might in a year from now sell me 2 properties, right? And so it's like just having a network, and if you hear about deals that are happening, you're just so in the know that information asymmetry you can exploit. And that's what makes a good real estate investor. And that's why I think someone who's done 20 or 30 deals has that competitive edge, right? If you know, like I can look at a property in 5 minutes and know whether I want to buy it or not. I don't even need to crank it. Like I don't even need to analyze the numbers. I can do it in my head now because I've been through so many deals. And information asymmetry tells me if I see a listing pop up in an area that I know is really, really strong, or I know an area is up and coming and I know I can rent it to students, or I know there's some angle that I can use that no one else is thinking about. Like I know now with the minimum wage increases in Ontario to $14 an hour, a lot of the houses in the $130,000, $140,000 range, they used to be crap houses. They'd rent for like $800 a month. Now those houses, because the target clientele for that now has a 35% increase in their wages. The bottom echelon in Ontario and in Canada, they got a minimum wage increase, right? And so they have 30% more disposable income on average right now, all the minimum wage workers. And so those dual income minimum wage workers can now afford $1,400, $1,500 a month, and they're all competing right now for properties. And so I'm like, this is just one example of one angle that I'm using right now. And don't go there and steal my angle, or go ahead and steal my angle. I don't care. That's why I'm here sharing with you guys. These $140,000 houses are rented for $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 plus utilities, where they rented for $800 before, and the market hasn't corrected on price yet. Based on that, on the normal cap rates, right? Based on the trading cap rate, we should see these properties selling for like 180, 190 right away, just based on the numbers. I get it appraised at 180 just by putting a tenant in. So I take a single family house and I go and turn it into a rental property by doing like nothing to it, maybe some paint or whatever, and I get a good tenant in there. And as soon as I place the tenant in there, I just made $50,000 in value. I changed it from looking as a single family house to now appraising under the income approach, the net income approach, right? 3 ways to appraise a property primarily, right? There's the cost-based approach, which is what it costs to replace the property. There's the income approach, so how much net income is it making divided by the cap rate in the area. And then there's also the comparable analysis approach, which is what most agents and appraisers tend to use. It's, you know, I don't like it very much because if you get into a hot market, there's bad comparables. You get into an area where there's no good comparables for the property, and then you're just sort of adjusting to like a 3-bedroom house to a 5-bedroom house, and you start making adjustments. Net income approach is better. Like, what is someone going to pay in rent for this property? What is the net operating income? You can't lie about that. You can't make that up. That just is what it is, market value. So you get the rents up, and you get a ton of value. So one strategy, for instance, back to my topic about information asymmetry, the market is undervaluing this one type of property. And this happens, like, there are a dozen different strategies like this. There are single family houses that turn into student rentals, or there are properties that are like perfect for duplexes that I convert them from a single family that would rent for $1,700 a month to a duplex that'll now rent for $3,000 a month, right? By just finishing a basement and creating a different apartment. Just these little angles, these little information asymmetries that when I go into a deal, I don't see it as a $150,000 house. I see it as a $300,000 duplex. And so I'm going in and I'm seeing $20,000 cost to do this. I'm like, wow, there's a $130,000 spread instantly. And no one's seeing that. Or maybe an agent, I see this all the time too, where lazy agents, like more than half of the real estate agents I would say in my market right now are terrible. Like I've had conversations with agents selling like in the listing, like, oh, investment property opportunity. And I call them, I'm like, hey, what's the cap rate? And they're like, I don't know what a cap rate is. Why are you selling an investment property if you don't know how to calculate the cap rate on the property? Do you have a net income statement you can show me? No, it's not rented. It's a single family house. I don't know what it would rent for. These agents are doing a huge disservice. Michael Chung, I'm going to bang this one out really quick. 25% is the minimum ROI. I won't touch a property unless I get 25% plus appreciation. So 25% plus appreciation, which means typically 40% return on investment is like the minimum I need to buy a property. As an aside. So I need to do about 500% of what I can get from the S&P 500. That's typically what I aim for because real estate has more risk. So I want to make sure I cover for downside. Right? And when you're talking about information asymmetry, the key piece is knowing something that someone else doesn't know. And often you take advantage of, and this sounds bad, but you're taking advantage of bad real estate agents. There's so many out there. They just have a high school education. Not there's anything wrong with a high school education, because I shouldn't even have went to university. Yeah, I wish you guys could read it. I think when I do YouTube live, for some reason, it does like a mirror effect on everything I draw. So I'll do a specific video on that for you guys. We'll park that. Comment on this after the live stream and drop that in the comments. And I promise you guys, if you have any questions, I will answer them. I always answer every comment. I try to, at least. Every single comment. So drop that in the comments and we'll do a video on that specifically. So thanks for the question, Tagger. What was I talking about? Information asymmetry, right? And we're talking about how do you, basically, as a real estate investor, you can buy as like a Johnny cash flower, which I recommend. You have to be buying for cash flow because who knows what's going to happen with appreciation. It's nice to have, but don't bank on it. Don't be buying on appreciation. But you can buy on arbitrage. So arbitrage is when you buy a property, if the market remains flat, if there is zero appreciation in the market, you can buy a property and you can make money. So I'm talking about buying a $150,000 property that's going to be worth $300,000 after you do a $20,000 makeover, turn it into a duplex, and get it rented out. So turning from a single family house someone's living in to now a cash flow producing property as one example, right? One information asymmetry example where the market is valuing this renovation at like, I guess theoretically $100,000, and you can do it for like 20. So you take advantage of that arbitrage. But so many bad agents, back to the bad agent part too, so many bad agents out there, so many bad real estate agents. That's why wholesalers are cleaning up. That's why people want to sell privately, because there's so many bad agents. They'll go in, I've seen them go in with their phones, their crappy smartphones. And there's these old agents that have been doing it for 20 years, and they take pictures with their phone, and they're really crappy pictures, and they write a listing that's like, oh, beautiful house, oh, in a great area, the trees are so nice, blah, blah stuff, 2-bedroom. And then I'm like, okay, I'm reading this, I'm looking for 2-bedroom, I'm looking for certain things, and I'm seeing, I know this area, I know this house, I go on Google Maps, I'll look at it, I'll say, hey, that's a big house. There's no way it's a 2-bedroom. That's easily a 5-bedroom house. They've just done their client a disservice. They listed it as a 2-bedroom. Their description is wrong, in the dimensions of the property, they're listing the measurements wrong. Happens all the time. They always put down the wrong measurements. They ballpark it, or they just put measurements not exact or whatever, and they're just leaving it blank. And I know the area well. I have a property, say, around the corner, or I've probably been to 1,000 properties in London. Darn close. I've probably been to 1,000. Maybe not intricately examined each one, but being at friends' places and just checking out listings and walking around and stuff, probably seen 1,000 properties. So likely whenever I see a listing, I've probably been to a property within half a kilometer of that property, almost always, no matter what. So I know pretty much every house in London, every area. Once I go there and I walk around, I'm like, oh, I've been to that house over there on the corner. So it must be similar to that construction style, etc. So that's how I sort of narrow down my screen, right? And I find those arbitrage opportunities. It's been hard in this market because everything's just selling so quick. But again, I talked about we're in that summer lull. Now in July and August, people tend to sell in May and go away, right? That's the whole thing. People go on vacation in July, in August. They're with their family. It's hot out. It's 35 degrees. No one wants to go look at properties. It'll pick up again when the kids come back to school and university and college in my town. 60,000, 70,000 people will come back into London in September, so London's going to boom again. And then there'll be another lull around Christmas. No one wants to move in December. So those are when I'm like a viper in there getting those deals quick. I've always been just acting quick. That's something you guys have to be able to learn to be a good real estate investor. Information asymmetry is usually on a ticking time bomb. And if you're a stock trader, right, if you're investing in equities and whatever, when you get a tip like that, and if you have a tip someone calls you, a buddy called me and say hey, did you see that listing come out? I've been in that property. I was in that property 2 years ago and it was listed. It's a 5-bed, man. It's listed as a 2-bed. Why are they listing it as a 2-bed? Oh, they're listing it to a family? As an investor, I'm coming in there, I'm 5-bed. $500 a bedroom is $2,500 a month. This house is worth $230, $240. Why is it listed for $180? So you can go in there and get a ton of arbitrage. So that's where you come in and you use information asymmetry to get a ton of money. Or if you can't find money on the buy side, you can find a way to add value. So that's what a lot of real estate investors have been doing now, because things are getting more and more competitive in the market. We're having to go in and effectively, so one example is I'll go in and grab, like I say, a house that needs people value $100,000 in renovation. I can do it for $20. I just made $80,000 spread. Or I know with a good tenant, let's say I bought properties too that had really bad tenants. I bought a triplex that had just terrible tenants, and it was selling on a cap rate of 8 or something, right? and it was like a 3-bedroom apartment rented for like $700 or whatever, just way under rented, right? And so what I have to do now is, now that I own this property, the value play here is to get those tenants out, renovate the units, make them a little bit nicer, spend like a couple grand a unit, just cosmetic stuff, and then get market value rent. Like a 3-bedroom now can get like $1,500 a month in this area. So I double the rents, and now I sell it again at an 8 cap rate. I just doubled the value of the property. And they can't sell it for what it's worth with new tenants in there, because you have to go through the stress of getting out a tenant, and that's a difficult process. Oftentimes, you have to go in there and offer them cash. Or you go in there and you solve their problem. Oftentimes, these people, they don't have last month's rent to go somewhere. So maybe you work with them. You say, hey, look, if you're out by this time, I'll give you back your last month's rent, and we'll work with you to find you a new place. As a property manager, I might know someone who has a unit available, and it's a crappier quality unit, and the landlord doesn't want to renovate. And that's perfect. This tenant wants something cheap. They don't want something nice. So I find them a place, get them out of my property, or get them out of my investor's property. Now they're out of that property, right? They're in a new place. I even give them their last month's rent. They're gone. All is good. We renovate the unit. We had double the rents. Boom. On an 8 cap rate, we just doubled the value of the property. So sometimes bad tenants are another really great play. And when we talk about commercial investing, commercial real estate investing, that is one of the big plays too there, is getting old legacy tenants out. Like these rent, these 1-bedroom units for like $300 a month. You guys have probably seen the articles. They've been there for 20 years on rent control. You got to get them out. Here in Ontario, you can get them out. There are a lot of ways to actually get them out. You can move in. If you move yourself or the owner in, you just pay them 1 month's rent and they're gone. Oftentimes though, like my best success has been just going and talking to them. 95% of people are just human and they're reasonable and they actually want to work with you and find a solution. So oftentimes if they aren't welcome at the property, if they know you want them gone, they want to be gone. So you work with them and you say and more than half the tenants, I just have worked with them. I'm like, hey, you've got to go in 2 months. And they're like, oh, I do? Okay. And I'm like, yeah, you got to go. I'm like, you got to sign this N11, this N9, you got to give me your notice, sign these documents. You're releasing, your need for the apartment and just work with them, right? Like say, hey, I'll help you find a place, or hey, you know what? I have a great moving truck. Let me secure the moving truck for you. I'll pay for it. $150, U-Haul will come with a big truck. I'll even help you move your stuff out. I've helped tenants take their stuff out. He's like, I had a guy who was like, oh, I have no friends in this city, man. I can't move. There's no way I can move. That's my biggest problem right now. He's like, I don't want the money. I don't want your money. He's like, I'm an independent guy. I don't need your money. I'll move, but when I can get a friend here. And I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, let's set up a date. I'll be there. I promise you, I will help you move. And I was there, and we moved him out. So that's you just gotta be there and find the angle and work with the person. And as soon as he was out, believe it or not, this tenant being out and me being able to re-rent this unit created $20,000 in value like that, just done. Because him being there devalued the property. And you hear stories about this in Toronto and in a lot of places in California, New York, Vancouver, all around Toronto, whatever. All these cities where these people have been there and there's these condos that the rent they're paying is half the mortgage. So you don't even want to buy this property because you've been losing so much money. You can't evict the tenant. It's almost impossible. So you got to bring in this. One of the specialties I have is working with people, right? And so if you can work with people, I think you can find and catch a lot more flies with honey than you will with vinegar, right? Coming in there and saying trash. Most people don't want money to solve their problem. Some of them do, and that's fine. You pay those people out. You just run the numbers. You're like, hey, I'm going to make $10,000 by having this person out. I'm going to get $800 more a month in rent. I can pay them 2 months worth of profit to get rid of them. Whatever. You work the numbers out. You find a solution. But there's just so many ways, guys, to sort of add value, right? And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys here. And I'm sorry, I got way off base. I don't know where that came from. We were talking about renovating units, and then we got into this. Let's go up to another question because I promised I would get through all of these questions. Let's go way back up. Where did I lose my spot here? Scrolling through the questions. When it comes to making millions, I was told not to diversify and to spend my time in real estate or stocks. What do you have to say about that, Mike? The 10,000 hour rule. Okay, so there's 2 points here. One of them, I think, not diversifying sounds like a terrible idea. Always diversify. Diversity is so key, guys. I sold 11 of my properties. You guys know last year I sold 11 properties off. And I could have those today and I could have a ton more cash flow than I have now. But I took money off the table. I took a lot of money off the table, a serious amount of money, and I put it into various investment vehicles, not real estate, right? So I've got money parked that's not just in real estate. Mind you, majority of my, probably 60% of my net worth is still in real estate. But I got some money I set aside in various dividend income, different things you should invest in. Maybe you do some hard money lending, buy this in businesses. Why not? You can buy this in businesses, have a stake in that, or if you can't find any private businesses, just go buy some publicly traded companies, collect some dividends. diversity is really, really great. But I think there's a good point, and the point you're getting at is really important, the 10,000 hour rule, about, you're talking about doubling down on something, right? And when you double down on something, you become an expert in that thing. And I think that's something you should be doing. That's something that's very important, because if you can find that edge, you can find that way that you can have that competitive advantage, you'll make a ton of money. Diversity, obviously really, really important, but finding a way to get expertise in something is important too. There is the whole argument, right? Like jack of all trades and then master of none, or someone who's just a master of one trade. And I think that having a diversity of skills that's transferable between things, like a lot of the skills I've used as a manager of a project, of a renovation, those project management skills are, hey, thanks, I just saw that comment pop up. Yeah, maybe I should go on Bigger Pockets. That'd be cool. I'd be so impressed to be on the podcast with those guys. Maybe they'll find this video and they'll want me to join them on the podcast, because I've been listening to their stuff for a while, and I think Bigger Pockets is amazing. I found them in 2016, and it's a great resource. Check that out. I wish I had more time to read Bigger Pockets. There's still so much wealth of information on those sites, all those blog posts, and a lot of their content's good across all the mediums, talking about podcasts as well. But back to the point about diversity, right? And I think that talking specifically about how you find out whatever your competitive edge is. Find out what is that skill. Maybe you have some edge. You have something you can do better than someone else, and then exploit that. I think that you'll make a lot of money doing that. It's really, really important. But I do think there is some value in diversity. So, for instance, if you're really good at real estate, find 3 or 4 real estate strategies that work. Maybe don't just do all student rentals. Maybe also get some duplexes and triplexes, and try to get some single family rentals too, and try a variety of, within the real estate segment, you could be diversified. I think that's important, right? Diversity does add a ton of resiliency to your portfolio. So if the university cancels tomorrow, my portfolio is fine, because I don't have just student properties. If the college builds a huge high-rise, and they say student accommodations right beside the college, and it destroys all my properties in the perimeter, like I'm just fighting to get like a small amount of tenants, student tenants, then that would obviously hurt that business, right? So I think having many different businesses and diversifying is really important. You hear about these people who have one business, or everything they buy in like 10 or 5 small stocks. Like they're like, oh, I put like everything in Nortel, and Nortel crashed, I lost everything in 2008. And it's because they weren't diversified. You're really opening yourself up to a lot of risk. But obviously with more risk comes greater reward. So you got to kind of trade that off. I think that if you're going to go all in on something, take a couple of eggs and put it away on the side, right? Like if you're going to go into real estate and milk a competitive advantage, like let's say you want to be a student rental guy, or commercial apartment building guy, you do that. You do you. If you had a competitive advantage there, milk that and get to that 10,000 hours of mastery, because you will at 10,000 hours become really proficient at something, and you'll have skills that someone else doesn't have, and that's valuable. But being able to balance, I think, is also important too. Like if you're just good at like placing tenants and you can't renovate anything, you have no idea, like when a contractor tells you he's going to change the floors or something, or he's going to rip this wall out, you have no idea if it's load bearing. You don't even know what he's talking about. It's just like he's talking a different language. If you don't have that skill set, you're going to get taken advantage of. And so I think having a few different skill sets that are necessary to master that one area you want to dominate is really important. So like in real estate, people management skills, really important. Being able to understand a deal, and then being able to write up a deal, and being able to talk with people to put the deal together, and then being able to understand, having that construction knowledge, really important to be able to do a deal effectively. So it's people management, construction. You see a lot of guys who are really handy in real estate. They just know how to fix anything. A lot of them are really terrible property managers, and they don't get along with their tenants very well. Their tenants don't pay them. Most of the time, tenants aren't paying because of a miscommunication. Something's going on. You can usually find a solution, work with them with a payment plan. I've been able to collect most of the rent from almost every tenant, and I've had almost no vacancy because I've been able to work with people. And if you can find a solution that works for everyone, then you're in a good place. And tenant horror stories, I have a video I'm going to do soon on tenant horror stories. I've been assaulted in a showing once in a 10-plex. There's a 10-plex building, and the guy, I opened the door. Oh, you guys are going to love this story. I'll share it on the future video because I don't want to get bogged down on it. But I opened the door, and I was like, can I go in here? And he's like, yeah. And he was talking to himself. He was kind of a little bit crazy. And there was the property manager was there. I was three of my boys were with me. And I opened the door, and I had a hammer luckily because we were doing a property. I'd already offered him this property. We were inspecting it. And I opened the door, and he freaks out. It's like he has this 50-year-old girlfriend who's naked on the bed. It's like the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And he came out, and he's like, I just saw her. Oh, he grabbed her. up against the wall. And like I had a hammer. I was ready to like destroy this guy's arm right here, right? But thankfully, like my boys grabbed him. We pushed him against the wall. Like got him off me. Just got out of the unit. You know, after he came out, he was going to throw things at my car. So we parked my car across the street because he was going to throw rocks at it. He was just very like mentally unstable, right? This guy was not himself and crazy, and he was running out. He's like, "You bestiality loving animal effer." Oh. Really weird, like shirtless guy. You see these kind of people sometimes, especially in the best deals. The best deals on properties. This property, I didn't end up buying it, maybe because of that incident, but it wasn't. It was because of something with the foundation. But my audio is getting distorted. Hopefully people can hear me. Better? Maybe my lapel was adjusted. Is it better? So we're talking about tenant horror stories. I'll park that for later and share that with you guys later. But there's just, you learn a whole bunch of different things as a property manager, as a real estate investor. You'll come across these things where I had a prostitute in the unit once. It was a tenant of mine that I found out she's a prostitute after the fact. She had great references. She made them all up, job letters. She was really good with Photoshop. And we can hear just when you move. Huh. Can you hear me better now? Is it better now? Maybe I'll just try not to move. I'll just be like super still like a monk, and maybe you guys will be able to hear me better. So, okay, good. Hey Zach, how you doing? Thank you for that. So talking about tenant horror stories, and some of the best deals have some of the most problems. And as a real estate investor, two things: information asymmetry and problem solver. If you can solve problems, you'll make a ton of money. As a landlord with that tenant, I can imagine trying to collect rent from that tenant or trying to do a repair on that guy's. It was a disgusting unit. Like the toilet wasn't even attached. He'd taken the toilet off the wall and he was like urinating in a hole, like in the sewer hole. These people are crazy sometimes. And so to get in there and try to fix something, I could just imagine the stress of that guy, right? So I would probably, if I was that landlord, I might even sell that property for a $25,000 discount. Just don't have to deal with that guy anymore, right? So sometimes you value your sanity way over the market value. And so if some young, hungry guy doesn't mind getting that guy out, you can make $25,000 to get rid of the guy. And I've heard stories of someone who made $100,000 in value on the property just by removing a bad tenant. So there's always ways to make money if you can solve problems for people. People have problems, you find a solution for their problem, you make money. That's it. You solve problems for wealthy people, right? You solve problems for people who have money, and you'll be rewarded. That's it. That's how you make money in the real world. Doesn't matter what business you're in. Okay, let's hit some more questions here, guys. Hopefully you can still hear me. Hopefully the lapel mic is still connected. Let's go back up here. We're scrolling. There's a lot of questions. Okay. This message has been retracted. Wish I knew what the message was. The debt blitz. Okay, can you spoil us with a horrible tenant story? Michael, you got your question answered because I just told you an example of a horror story with a tenant. And I've also had a tenant that was behind on rent proposition me with their daughter on their phone naked. It was disgusting. She's like, "Oh, this is my daughter. Like, we can work something out." And I'm like, whoa, no, thank you. So that's another horror. I'll share a whole bunch of horror stories because I've had over 100 tenants the last 5 years. So, you know, the 5% that are bad, those 5 stories will stand out for you guys. Okay. Hey, how's it going, Nickel? Glad you jumped on. Hopefully you're still here. I apologize. It's been like 30 minutes since we've had your question. Okay. Darius says, Patrick Bet David says this. I don't know who that is. Why don't apartment buildings cash flow the same way? This was a good question I wanted to get at for East Coast. So I hope you're still on here. Hope you're still listening. Talking about commercial real estate investing versus residential. And I want to do a video on this at some point. But at the nuts and bolts, the high level, what I've been finding is that you're competing against institutional investors. So properties are overvalued as opposed to competing with small-time investors. So institutional investors, they can borrow money at like 2%, right? Like big companies will give them like $50 million and say, the condition is you have to effectively only buy minimum $10 million buildings, or I want to be in safe, big, huge buildings. I don't want to own like individual properties. For some reason, institutional investors will not let you buy single family houses. They just won't. It has to be commercial real estate. I don't know why. I should probably go research it for my video and find out why that is. But what I've been told is REIT I've talked to, every like higher property management guy, they just don't want to do the small deals. And probably because it's hard to find 1,000 small deals. It's easy to find like 10 huge deals, right? 10 four-season hotels or huge skyscrapers. Easier to buy those deals, easier to finance one big deal. So yeah, I guess you're competing against institutional money. And for some reason, institutional money comes cheap. Like these insurance companies have, they have to take money and put it into really safe investments. And they value commercial real estate as extremely safe for some reason. And it produces constant cash flow. And they need that cash flow to service their obligations on their insurance policies. So they'll give like if I get big enough, if I have 1,000 companies, it's likely that someone will approach me and say, Sun Life says, here we have $25 million. We'll give you a try. Here's $25 million as a test run. Here's what you can buy with that money. And they'll probably say, I can't buy single family houses, so I'll have to go buy apartment buildings. But what you'll find is that with apartment buildings, the rates of return are lower, but you have greater scale. So you're bringing in like $1 million a year in revenue, but your margin is like 8% or 6%. Whereas on a single family, I'll have 40% margin, but obviously less rent coming in. So the idea is that with one roof, a lot of doors under one area, one big boiler system, that it's more efficient. I haven't found that to be the case in the numbers, just because they're overvalued right now in this market. In my market specifically, you're overpaying for the commercial properties. Also, the city in my area, in the municipality, the property tax levy for commercial buildings is insane. Like an $800,000 single family house with 20 bedrooms in it, like it's a single family house, but it's just a mansion, that property tax bill is like $5,000. The same valued property. So it's valued at the exact same. The city appraises them both at the same value. An $800,000 or let's say $800,000 apartment building will have like $18,000 property tax levy bill. So your property tax bill every year is $18,000 on $800,000 commercial property, and it's like $4,800 on a residential property. So you got to crank out a lot than you do on a residential property just to cover that high property tax bill. The city obviously is saying that this building, this is the commercial rate we've decided, this is the property taxes for this building, we got to service this building with utilities and whatever, and that's the reason. I don't know. I found like a big house with like 20 bedrooms in it. You rent out 20 bedrooms, it's like 20 units kind of thing at $500 a bedroom kind of thing. Those rooming houses, they cash flow way better because their expenses are super low. I found out the insurance policies on commercial properties are insanely high. Residential properties, I can get an $800 a year insurance policy. On a commercial property, it's going to be like 10 times that, right? And just to the scale, it just reduces your profitability. If you look at some of the individual expense line items, I actually did a small video on this. If you guys go way back, probably has a terrible thumbnail, but it was just me talking about commercial real estate investing. And I sort of compared two deals about why I would buy like a duplex over a 10plex. Just also like interest rates tend to be a little bit higher on commercial property. You pay 4 or 5% mortgage, whereas if you buy residential property, which is less than 4 units, you're going to be looking at 2-3% interest rate. So it's when you're levering up with at 5%, you need a lot. Your spread's even smaller. So yeah, I should do this in a whole video about why commercial real estate investing isn't as good. But huge scale. So you get a couple million in revenue coming in. Who cares if you have 8% margin versus 30% margin? Yes, the rest, like your ROI is lower, but I guess you have just so much of it coming in that you're okay. So that's sort of why people invest in commercial real estate. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, we don't have to go till 8:30, so we have lots of time. It's actually 9 now. He texted me, so. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. We're live here. I'll keep going. Let's do this next question here. Sorry, a buddy of mine just came in the house. I need to go have a beer with someone, pick their brain on some cool stuff. So they're probably not watching right now, but I'm going to pick their brain on some tax stuff. But it's corporate structure. Just an old friend of mine I used to work with 5 years ago or something. Okay, so let's keep going and read some of these questions that I missed here after East Coast. So is cash king or is cash flow king? Darius, the saying goes, cash is king, cash flow is King Kong. That is the saying. Cash is king, cash flow is King Kong. Okay. At Me, Kevin is doing something similar, trying to integrate construction into real estate. If you reach out to him regarding his success and his struggles. Yeah, so Kevin and I, we're friends and we chat. He is doing something very similar. He's a real estate agent. And you know what, guys? I'm curious, like, what do you guys think in the comments? Should I become a real estate agent? I've started the courses, actually, just never finished them. I have a really great couple of agents that I work with, and one of them actually kicks me back cash sometimes on deals, and they'll reduce their commission significantly, and they're a broker, so they can reduce their commission such that, like a real estate agent, for instance, on a house, they sell them to like 4% commission, right? They pay their brokerage often like 1 or 2% of that, and they get 1 or 2% of that. But if you go find a broker and say, hey, look, I want to make a deal with you, there's no agent involved, I'll do a lot of legwork, if you do it for like 1.5% or something. So I have like guys who I've reached out to who do it really, really discount for me because I do a lot of the work. Like I'll write the offers up exactly what I know exactly what I want. I don't need any coaching. I tell them this is what the offer is. I find the mistakes. I send it back to them. We get the offer submitted. I'll go drive by the properties beforehand. I'll find the listings and send it to them that I want. They don't send me listings. So that's sort of like, I don't know, the relationship that I have. But the question is, should I become a real estate agent? Should I have my license? Probably. I've been doing this for like 8 or 9 years. I'd be an expert in the, like I know how to write offers like the back of my hand from private deals. I don't know if I should get my real estate agent license or not. I waver. Sometimes it's good to have that. I do have those really good agents in my network that I can rely on. I probably still use them. But what do you guys think? Should I be doing this? There's like $5,000 a year in costs to keep your license going, right? With insurance and desk fees and everything else. Maybe I should. I don't know. Let's keep hitting some questions because I promised I get through all of these questions before I wrap up and go for a beer with an old friend. Let's see. Scrolling up. Okay. Which pension plan do you prefer? Defined or contribution? Okay. So Michael Chung, it's a great question. It's a sophisticated one that I could do a whole video on. So there's defined benefit plans and defined contribution pension plans, 2 different plans. One plan is like the government plans you talk about, where defined benefit plans give you a preset amount of money based on years of service, typically is the most common way. So teachers' pensions, nurses, here in Ontario, government workers, etc. Those pension plans tend to be funded by the corporation, by the company. So the return is set by the company. So if the company doesn't get the return they thought they would get, they still have to pay you a set amount of your salary. So let's say in retirement, they give you 65% of your last average 5 years. Okay, the short answer is, without doing another video on that, defined contribution is basically you invest, they'll match you up to a certain dollar amount, and then you invest it whenever you want, like into a mutual fund or something. Defined benefit, company invests your money. Defined contribution, you invest the money in your pension. Defined benefit, you get a guaranteed amount, say 65% of your salary for life when you retire. Defined contribution, you get whatever the value of your pension is. Defined benefit plans work really well. Interest rates were really high. Companies were doing really well. They could underfund. Now they're underfunded though, because they built them based on 10 and 12% interest rates. So all these government pensions, Ontario government pensions, and Canada pensions, and all the public sector workers, teachers, doctors, firefighters, policemen, all that in Canada, those pensions are way underfunded. So companies like the government are having to go in there and fund those pensions because they promise pensions that are ridiculous. Like a teacher's pension at age, a teacher's pension at 65 is worth $4.5 million if they work there as a teacher their whole life. Like $4.5 million is disgusting. They should get half the pension. Defined benefit pension plans are gross. Truth is, defined benefit pension plan, way better than defined contribution. But take advantage of either one at your employer. Got to take advantage of that free pension match where you get 100% return on investment instantly plus growth. You put $1 in, they put $1 in, that's 100% return on your money. Most companies, you put in like $2,000, they'll put in $2,000, they'll match it, you'll have $4,000. When I worked at KPMG, I put in like $1,000, they put in $1,000, it was great. Free money up to a certain amount. Definitely take advantage of that before you invest in anything. Get that pension match because there's no way you can get a risk-free 100% match on your money. But let's keep going, guys, because we're running out of time. We got to hit these questions up. I'm probably going to be another 15 minutes here with questions. Okay, let's get up here. Scroll. Okay, Emma Paste asks, Mike, can I take you for lunch on Friday to chat about how we might be able to help each other? Emma, send me a private message so you guys find my Facebook page, go check it out and send me a message on the Facebook page. It's Mike Rosehart -YouTube, I think, and we can set something up. For sure, we can go have some lunch. I would love a free lunch. I am so frugal that I love free lunches. If there's a way that I can help you or you can help me, why not? I'm definitely open to that, so long as my calendar has room. It might be not this Friday, but next Friday or something. But okay, which location in Toronto is best to invest for condos? Joanne, if you're still with us, Joanne, I think that I don't know if I'd invest in condos in Toronto at all. I'm not a big fan of investing in Toronto real estate at all right now. unless you can find a private deal that's under market value. I am not extremely bullish on $1 million houses that rent for like $2,000, $3,000 a month. They just don't cash flow. How do you can't even cover yourself on a condo. But if I had to buy something, if I had to buy something in Toronto, I'd probably buy something close to downtown. I definitely think having something in the core of downtown would be really, really great, because I don't think the downtown core of Toronto is ever going to go away. It's a great location. So if you're going to have a condo in a good place, probably make sure it's in like downtown, I guess. I don't know. I wouldn't invest in Toronto, to be honest with you. The numbers just don't work for a cash flow perspective. If someone came to me and said, I have a condo for $600,000 for you on private assignment, that on day one of and this happens a lot, guys. Like, look out for this, because people will oversubscribe. They'll buy 3 or 4 condos in a development 4 years ago, and they have to pay HST if they close. HST is the harmonized sales tax. They have to pay tax on this property if it closes, the construction cost at 13%. But if you close it and live in it for a year, the government rebates you that tax, so you don't pay any tax. So these people can't close on these deals, and they have to try to assign them, because they don't want to. If they close on it, they have to pay 13% tax, et cetera, closing costs. They'll lose like 20% of the value of the property on close if they have to close it and sell it. And they can't list a wholesale agreement on the multi-listing service. They can't list an agreement. So they have this builder contract with the builder to buy this condo, and they get it on a certain closing date. This happens all the time. People flip new build houses too. They'll get a house, they'll sign it up 2 years when it's built, or when the condo is finally ready to go, they'll sign that contract to someone else, hoping it's appreciated. They've put $10,000 down as a deposit, and that's it. And they got this piece of paper that has a right to own this condo. They flip the paper to someone. So that's the only time I buy a condo, probably, is if I found someone. They exist all the time. I know people who have bought these kind of deals. I know people who have sold these kind of deals. And they'll find these wholesale agreements, and they'll give it to you. Like, they'll say market value is $1 million. Here it is for $900,000. I signed the agreement 4 years ago for $825. So you give me $70,000, I'll give you this piece of paper that lets you have this condo, this brand new condo worth $1 million. So then that's called assigning contracts. I actually almost did this on a house. Someone had a 2-year contract on a house. The market appreciated such that, and here's the thing too, with new builds, no one wants to get in first, right? There's always this like fear of like, I don't want to be the first one. I want everyone else to get in first. And like, oh, I don't want to live through construction. That sounds terrible, to like have the elevator being constructed, or in a new subdivision, oh, there's no grass. Oh, the road's rough. I don't want to live in that. So people undervalue new build houses, and then once the subdivision's developed 2 years later and the grass is down, the road's nice, and all the houses are built, they're usually worth 20% premium. So that's why I built my first house, my first build, I guess. It was my second ever house. But I built a house doing on that strategy alone. And I built it and sold it and made a ton of money. And actually, things appreciated, so I made even more. But that's a good strategy. If I was going to buy a condo in Toronto, I'd probably do a private assignment and buy it below market value and live in it. Okay, let's go to the questions here and keep going down. Hopefully you guys are getting value from this. We've had like more than 20 people on the whole time, which has been sweet. Thank you guys for all being on here. It is amazing. If you guys are getting value, I stay on as long as I can for you. Okay, so Tiger Rock said, how would you go about negotiating a JV as a new investor? What value could I offer as a new investor? Okay, so let's talk about what you can bring to the table as a new investor. As a new investor, you're a hardworking person, right? You bring a lot of the active components. Yes, you don't know what you're doing, but you could be taught. And if you're willing to be malleable and flexible, most guys most good investors like myself, I would be willing to train someone and show them the way to do this, right? And so as long as I was getting something out of it, so as long as that person was doing all the work, I'd be willing to share all my expertise with that person and train them for free effectively, right? Because they're working on the project, we're both standing to benefit. You'll make money. Like you're getting educated, and at the end of the day, because you're partnered with someone who knows what they're doing, you're probably going to make a ton of money. So it's like education that you're getting paid. You're getting paid to be educated. Like how do you lose that situation? But what do you propose? What value do you bring to the table? Well, one, if you got a day job, you can get a mortgage. Maybe they have the capital. This happens a lot, guys. Like actually, people out there, you're still watching this video over 70 minutes in on the replay. If you guys are catching the replay, let me know. I love it in the comments when people are like, hey, I caught the replay. If you're still watching the replay at 70 minutes, like you're a devout fan, I really appreciate that. I just saw something come up. Out of Time Media. What type of lapel mic is that? It actually is there's 2 of them. I don't even know the brand, but there's actually 2 that go into a device. What kind of lapel mic is this? I don't know. Those devout followers, anyway, guys that are watching, I love to hear that. I talk fast too, so you might even have to put me on like slow speed. I like to, when I watch YouTube videos, guys, I'll be honest with you, I watch everything at 2 times speed. I'll be watching like Jordan Peterson or like whatever. I just like to watch some debates and stuff like that. I'll be watching like even just like trash on YouTube. I watch it all like 1.5 times speed. Oh, it's a good tip. Lower your mic volume in the future to cut out the slight distortion for better content and more views. Good point. I'll give that a try. I tend to change the pace of my voice, and I change the intensity sometimes too if I'm really excited about something. So maybe I'll try and turn it down. We do have a device over here. I can check it out after where we can adjust the sound. In editing it obviously we can adjust things too. We can try going quieter and see if that helps any. Okay. Let's go and grab another question. Boop, 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 boop. Scrolling up. Okay, there's quite a few questions here going down. Pension plans, we talked about that. Real estate investment courses, we talked about that already. Have you considered buying properties such as cottages or Airbnbs? The debt blitz. I'm gonna do a video soon. I bought actually a property on Lake Huron. It's a cottage, a beautiful cottage. I'm Airbnb-ing it right now for $1,400 a week, and it's over an acre with private deeded beach rights, and I'm severing it into 4 lots. So I'm working the process with the municipality to do that. This is my first development project where I'll probably build 4 cottages, like 4. When I say cottages, they're like 3,000 square foot, like dream cottages. Yeah, good point. Hopefully you guys can hear me here. I'm just seeing some of these questions pop up. If they're short, I can usually read them. You made the point about the audio quality. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But yeah, so talking about Airbnb, I have been doing Airbnb. I've definitely found that Airbnb is about double market rent. So my tiny house that I rent out on Airbnb, I get double what I would probably get in rent. Bedrooms, you rent a bedroom out for $30 a night in my area. That's about $900 at full occupancy. It's $900 a month. A bedroom's worth about $450, $500. It's weird because some people say I sound fine and some people can't hear me at all. So what is going on with this lapel mic? You are a bad boy. I'm just going to hold you and maybe I'll be better there. Yeah, I have someone here with me. Harks Creative. Plug to Harks Creative. They are awesome. He's a friend, so he's helping me out, and in return, we're experimenting with new things. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm holding the lapel mic. What was I talking about? Airbnb rentals. So Airbnb is a fantastic system to rent out properties, but it requires an active manager on the site. So I have to put someone there that I can trust to change the sheets, clean the property, manage it, keep an eye on it. I don't want to be driving there, cleaning it and stuff like that. It's too much work. So you got to put someone who's an active manager. You have to put them effectively at the property to make sure that, they take care of everything. They handle all the check-ins. You got digital locks that change in. But there's always problems that creep up with the short-term rentals. Great return on investment. You can really crank out the cash flow. Works great for seasonal rentals too. I'm a huge fan. You guys will see in the new video I'll drop. I got a lot of projects on the go. I have like 3 properties I'm renovating right now, and it's a lot of work. This like big duplex, another property. I got a million things on the go, and this development project will be cool. I'll show you. It's over an acre. I got some photos. You can check me out on Instagram actually, where I've posted on my Instagram some photos of the cottage and the beach. It's beautiful. Really excited about this opportunity. I partnered with someone on this project who was local, who was in the area, and someone I could trust to take care of the check-ins. So that's a lot of value. I gave up a good percentage of this project, and I foresee with the development we're going to double or triple what we paid for it. So this is going to be a great project for them. All they have to do is manage the Airbnb for a summer. That's not too bad. Okay, let's keep going. We're talking about seasonal cottages and Airbnb rentals, and definitely I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. You guys know that wherever there's money, I'm usually there. So I've tried a little bit of everything from Airbnb rentals to whatever. Okay, let's go up here. Can you make more videos of you in the trenches? Yeah, so I've got about 3 or 4 videos of me in the trenches. They've done okay. Some of my better videos, though, for some reason, from a view perspective and a comments perspective, has been where I'm talking at a high level about certain strategies and investing and that sort of thing. I'm going to cater to you guys. My loyal fan base loves in the trenches. I'm going to give you guys more in the trenches. I like to just talk. So whatever you guys want me to talk about, I'm happy to do that. I like to film, too. It's fun. So, yeah. Here we go. I'm getting so many texts. I got a private deal. Someone just texted me and said, hey, can you meet me over at a property? I want to show you this property. There you go. Private deal just fell on my lap. I probably sent out emails last week, and now someone just texted me right now and said, hey, I'm going over to meet a tenant at a property. This could end up being a deal right now, live. You just saw this. There's probably a deal here. Worst case scenario, they probably want me to manage their properties because it sounds like they might need my help. Okay, back up to the questions. I'm going to get through all these questions. I'm going to do it. Let's go back up. Which location in Toronto is best? We hit that question. Okay, hey Mike, I just turned 17 and will be a senior in high school and want to pursue a career in real estate investing. What do you believe I should start doing since I am so young, and any other advice you have? Thank you for putting that out there. I think that you're young and you have a ton of time at your disposal, right? And you have a lot of energy because you're young, right? So you can really burn it at both ends. And you don't have a lot of commitments yet, right? You don't have a wife, and I assume you don't have a wife and a child. Maybe you have a child, I don't know. If you do, it doesn't let that stop you, because I got a 2.5-year-old daughter and I still get a lot done. So my advice would be, take this time to learn and experiment, because just doing nothing and thinking about things isn't going to get you ahead. You really have to spend the time experimenting in the trenches, and watching content like this is a great place to start, because you learn. The more you can watch of this kind of stuff, the more you can, basically you're getting a chance to see what I see, right? When I walk through a property, and that's valuable, I think. I wish I had that when I was starting out. I made a lot of mistakes on my first couple properties, and I paid the price. I spent maybe $10,000 on my first renovation, and whereas now I could have done it for $5,000, and it took me 6 months, and I could have done it in like 6 weeks. There's always a way to find a win-win situation. I went into finance and accounting, and I had a good summer job when I was 19. I've had a bunch of jobs. I worked at the border for the government with duty taxes as a commercial analysis clerk. I worked as a teller at a bank one summer. I worked at a credit union. I worked at KPMG for 6 months doing auditing. And so I got to see a lot of really cool businesses. And I was just the junior guy making nothing. But working in accounting, I'm a big fan of going into business or accounting. If you want to get into real estate investing, those skills are very transferable. Understanding how to work in an Excel and work in spreadsheets, that really can help you with the analysis side. And getting a chance to get exposed to different businesses, whatever job you're working. Like I worked at Tim Hortons for 2 years as a baker and a storefront guy. And those skills were so transferable and so valuable. I learned time management. I had 4 ovens going at once. So I learned how to manage multiple projects at one time. I learned how to think ahead, that I have to be, putting the croissants in the muffin dough out while something else is cooking, right? Doing multiple things at once. Just going in a job at like a Tim Hortons will add a lot of value, I think, later on. Like when you're 20 and 21, all of those skills are transferable. So at 17, right now, your goal should be learn as much as you can, keep the energy levels up, hustle hard, earn as much as you can, earn and learn, and then try to find a mentor. If you can find a mentor in your local network, or find a mentor distantly that you can follow and learn from, mentorship is key. It's one of the fastest ways, I think, to learn something. If you take what you're learning and then you go and apply that concept. Just learning, me talking to you isn't gonna be enough. You got to go and apply that too. So you got to find ways to apply that. And in my school, I like to use case study method. Case study is fantastic. It's a great way for you to apply what you're learning in a real life scenario without any consequences. Because you're thinking through a scenario, you're working through a real life case or a real life problem and thinking how you might solve that problem. So case-based learning is the best way to apply what you're learning. The second best way. The first best way is to go buy a property with someone, even a small percentage of the property. Like approach an investor and say, can I have 10% of this deal? I only have enough to buy in 10%, but I will do 90% of the work. Like I will renovate everything. I will learn. I will hustle. I'm 18 years old. Let's say you turn 18. I'm 18 years old. For 10% of this deal, I will do all of the work. And you might think that's a bad deal, but no, it's not a bad deal. It's a great opportunity for you to learn something. Go reach out to some real estate agents and say, hey, can I come follow you around? Can I come take pictures of your listing for you? I have a great camera. I invest in a camera for $500. Take some pictures of call up some agents and say, hey, can I come take photos of your listing? Or can I follow you around? Can I help you? Can I show to tenants a unit? Whatever, right? Eventually you'll get more responsibility and you'll learn a ton. That's the best way, is volunteer your time. That's one way I've learned a lot too, is just volunteering your time. You'll get paid back. It's basically free education. You're saying, yeah, I'm giving my time up for free, but really it's better than paying to learn something. I think it's better to just get knowledge for free. So that's sort of my advice. Earn as much as you can. So go get a job. You need a job to invest in real estate. It really does help. So get a job, Earn as much as you can, learn as much as you can, mentorship. Hope that was enough. There's probably more I could tell you in future videos about how you get started as a 17-year-old, but I think you're on the right track because you're watching this live stream right now. You're watching this content. It means you're interested, it means you have a passion. Most 17-year-olds are out playing, what are 17-year-olds playing right now? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're still playing World of Warcraft. Probably. I don't know if that game still exists. I used to play World of Warcraft.
I think a lot of kids are playing, what's that, Fortnite.
Oh, Fortnite. Yeah, everyone's playing Fortnite. Yeah, this is true. I got a lot of friends who are like 25 playing Fortnite. And those guys are not hustling in real estate. Most of those guys I know that are playing Fortnite 20 hours a day. So yeah, you're not doing that. You're already here doing that, which is doing this, like learning, which is amazing. You're already leagues ahead, and just staying on that track and keeping that momentum going will get you a long way. Even if you buy your first property at 20, right? The biggest thing I like to talk about, I'm going to get to this. I saw a question pop up about joint venturing. The biggest thing is finding out what the person needs. So maybe they're like myself, they don't have a day job. So a bank you need that income to qualify. I have friends who like make 70 grand a year. They have steady jobs. They don't want to invest in property. They call me up. They say, Mike, let's buy a property. I can get you a mortgage. Like my income can get a mortgage, and you have the capital to buy the property. You put the down payment down or whatever, and we come up with a deal where it's a win-win for everyone. Right on. Yeah, that's a good deal. Play video games for money. There you go. Okay, let's try and hit these questions here. Gotta get all these questions out before I gotta go. Scrolling. Okay. Focus primarily on condos in downtown. I'll walk you through some awesome neighborhoods, buildings, areas. Cool. That would be cool. Emma, you should do that with Joanne. And maybe Emma, we can work together too. That'd be cool. Okay, let's go down here. I got through all these questions. How would you go about negotiating a JV partnership? I think I hit this question already by Tiger Rocks, but yeah, just showing where you can add value in some way. Maybe you have a day job and you have no capital, and someone else has capital. And if you could put a great joint venture partnership together where there's an active partner who's hungry and they have capital, or they don't have any capital. They're young and they're hungry and they want to do all the work. And someone else has the capital and they're old and they don't want to do any of the work. And I honestly, if someone came to me and was like, I have the perfect deal, I've already got locked up under contract, or I know I can get this deal locked up under contract, Mike, will you help me get a mortgage and we put the down payment down? I'll do everything. I probably would consider that. If I was a wealthy guy, I might consider that. So that's a place you can work with the joint venture partnership. You say, oh, I don't have a day job income. I can't buy properties. I can't get mortgages. There's always a way to get mortgages. You'll find a way. There is a way. And then let's say there isn't a way. There's still a partnership where you can make it work, where someone has the day job income or someone has the capital, and you have the knowledge because you're watching these videos, you've been following me around, you've been seeing what I've been doing, you have that expertise, and you're willing to work really, really hard. Working really, really hard is the most important thing. Capital, so 3 things I'm going to share with you guys in a future video. I actually cribbed this from another guy. I don't like his coaching stuff, but his book is pretty good, Stefan Arnio. He talks about money, people, deal. And I heard it before, but I hadn't heard it as eloquently as he had said it in his book. Money, people, deal. Those are the 3 components to everything. 1/3 of the value comes from the money. 1/3 of the value comes from the people management and understanding the trades and the property management, and all of those pieces, like the people stuff. And then the deal, right? If you control 2 out of the 3, the 3rd one always comes. So if you have people down, which if you're the active investor, you got people down. And that's something like that I learned earlier. I had the active component, I had the energy, I was willing to do all of the people stuff. If you get the people down, and then you can find a deal. The money comes, right? If you get the money and you get the deal, the people will come, right? You can find someone who's the active partner. If you don't have the money and you just have the deal, and you have some people stuff, the money comes, you don't have the deal at all. And you got there's actually a lot of investors in Toronto and people I've talked to who have a ton of money, great jobs. They get mortgages all day long. They sign on the dotted line for $1 million, no problem. They got tons of money, tons of access to capital. And maybe they even have some of the people skills. They've done flips before, but they don't have the energy. They don't want to go and do it. So they maybe have half the people skills. And they're looking for someone who's got the deal. If you have the deal, imagine that. You get 1/3 of this is actually what he proposes, is that each one's worth 1/3. So if you brought the money to the deal, you're worth 1/3 of the value. Like 2/3 of the value of this deal comes from a really good deal, buying below market value, delivering renovations, all of that. That's 1/3 of the value of the whole deal. And then the people management is another 1/3 of the deal. So I don't know. That's why in a 50-50 partnership, you got to make sure, like I see a lot of bad joint venture partnerships too, where someone puts up all the capital, gets all the financing, does all the work, and finds a deal. And they're partnering with like a friend of theirs, and their friend's just like, yeah, I'm gonna help out or whatever, and they didn't do anything, and that's a terrible partnership, right? So, yeah, I don't know, Alex. Just saw your question here. I'm gonna bang it off just because I see it right now. Is college worth it for entrepreneurs? I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad's a great book. Tons of great stuff. I guess to finish off my joint venture stuff, and to answer your question as well, while I see it up here, I would say college can be a good return on investment. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to work in a career for 10 or more years, it'll pay off really well. If you don't, it probably won't pay off that well. So I don't know if it really paid off that well for me. I guess the Ivy degree should help me in realizing, I guess I have a lot of network connections and I can use those connections to invest in real estate. So maybe that part will pay off. The education part, most education you can figure out online. Most stuff's free, right, for students. So I wouldn't pay a ton for education. Kind of regret that. Okay, so talking about Money People Deal, I'll do a whole video series on that, guys. But the idea being that if you control the deal, if you have a really good deal, and there's a lot of bad deals, like just because you have a deal locked up doesn't mean it's a good deal. If it's at market value, it's not really a good deal. If there's no play there, right, it's not really a deal. And if you don't have people stuff down, then that's not the greatest problem to real estate investing, I think, is bad management. Like, it's worse than a bad deal is bad management. It sours up anything. Okay, let's try to hit these questions here. I know, I'm hurrying up. My wife just came in. My investment partner there doesn't want to be on camera, is also here and telling me I need to hurry up because we got to go somewhere. Bang these out, guys. Go quick as I can. You should start saving money for your first property. Don't forget to get a credit card at 18. Start your credit history. Andrew K. That is a great suggestion. Good point. Get your credit started at 18. If you have bad credit, learn to piggyback off someone who has good credit, so you can get a card under them, and it'll help build your credit. No, don't do that. Don't keep asking questions. I just saw that come up. Keep asking questions. I'll never leave. This is true. You guys can get me. I can talk for hours. You guys know I like to talk 1,000 words a minute. Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. Okay, let's try to get some more questions if I can. Audio stuff, yes, we got that fixed. Would you invest somewhere you don't want to live around? For example, I live in Quebec, but hate it here. I have a government job that's holding me here. Should I start my portfolio in Quebec or Ontario? You know what? Maybe you want to find a joint venture partner in an area that's more favorable. Or maybe you want to invest in a real estate investment trust or something to that effect. If you don't want to invest, I like investing where I live, but you don't have to. If you're going to be the active partner, definitely, and the manager, I would say invest where you live. But if you're going to have a manager, someone you can trust who's the active JV partner, then yeah, it's fine. Okay. I'm trying to scroll up here, all these questions. I see more popping up, but I can't get to them because I'm trying to scroll. Okay. Do you have to be interested to invest? I don't know what that means. Yeah, I guess you'd have to be interested to invest. I talked about minimum ROI you need, minimum 25% cash, like just on the rental income. And then appreciation is a bonus for me. So I go for like double that ideally. Okay, let's see if I can hit more of these out. Looking for rich friends. Yeah, we all want rich friends. This is good. Find wealthy friends. Even find hustlers and really motivated individuals. How do you primarily find your deals? So I find a lot of my deals, FTW, Wonka. A lot of my deals I found just like pocket listings have been some of my best deals. An agent will call me and say, hey, I got this listing. I locked it up. I got a contract signed and it's going on the market Monday. It's Thursday. I can get you through. Like, you want to get through? We can sneak you through. It's not an MLS yet. No eyeballs on it. You can put in a bully offer if you want. We'll get it done. Because I know you, Mike. I know you always close 20 deals or whatever. I'm calling you because this buyer wants to close quick. Can you put together a no conditions offer? No financing, no building inspection. Walk through it. I do my inspections all at once. So I go through a property for like 2 hours and I inspect it all at once. And most things I can fix, like even a foundation. I just dug out a foundation, fixed the whole thing. It was like deteriorating block foundation. Anything can be fixed. You just have to make sure there's enough margin, enough numbers. So that's one way I've found a lot of deals is network. People will call me and say, hey, I have a tip, I have a lead. I know this person wants to buy or invest, etc. I feel so bad having to wrap this up. I know I need to. There's like There's 27 people on here, and such a good amount of people, like a lot of great questions. It's so hard to like end it, but I know I need to. You can find deals on Kijiji, on Craigslist, private deals. There is some stuff on MLS that's just been not advertised properly. If it's been marketed properly, I don't want it. Like if it's got a proper video, proper description, I don't want it on MLS. 1,000 eyeballs have already seen it. If it hasn't been bought, it's mostly because it isn't a good deal. So yeah, there's that. If it's been on the market for a while, there's usually a reason why it hasn't sold. Sometimes it's just been marketed improperly and there's still an angle, but okay, let's try to get through some of these. I hope I don't miss any questions. I'm just going to try to get this quick. Put me in the right direction for a hard money lender. I can get 20% down, but I'm not sure if 10,000 is sufficient for renovations. If you have 20% down, you could buy a turnkey property and then use the cash to funnel into the second property. You could do a refinance strategy where you put in you could do cosmetic renovation for 5 or 10,000. No problem. That is true. You can do that. I spend 5,000 a unit on floors, paint, and make things a little bit nicer. Okay. Let's go up here and find some more questions. What time is it for everyone? Hey, Peter. Thanks for joining. Zach, paramedics. I don't know what the question is. Maybe they have a good pension. Hope they do. I hear they get paid pretty poorly. Okay. Thank you. This was an awesome live stream. Yeah. Out of time media, 3% inflation. I know it's crazy. They're investors, like they're investing that capital and they're expecting 2% rate of return plus appreciation, right? So when they're expecting 2% on cash flow, that's ridiculous. They're hoping for appreciation, right? That's why they're investing so little. I think that's what you're relating to. The 5 properties I bought recently, I could share them with you. Duplex, single family, another duplex, single family. Yeah. Another single family. So student rentals as well, a couple student rentals in there too. Yeah, those are the properties I bought. I'll give you some more details in a future video because we are running out of time. Is it 8:33? Okay. I've been on this for a while, 93 minutes, and you guys are still on here. It's like 25 people on here. We had over 30 at one point, which is amazing. This live stream is going really, really well. I'm so thankful that I've got these loyal followers. For all those people catching the replay on this, I hope you got value from it. I'm sorry if I speak quickly or if the audio was bad because I tend to, my voice will be high and then it'll be low and then it'll be all over the place. Okay. Thank you, Michael, for that. You always catch the replay. I love it. Let me know in the comments if you're catching the replay. Let's get the next question here. Have you completely removed a foundation and reported a new one? And how do you decide if it's worth it? Ooh, I have never done that. I've always been able to repair a foundation, like a big crack or something. What you can do is you can form up beside a foundation and pour another foundation beside it and do a really fat one. If the foundation's that bad, I probably wouldn't buy the property. It depends on the numbers. Like if you're getting a really good deal, like at the cost of the land, okay, we got something to work with. We can lift this house up. We get beams under it, lift the house up, redo the foundation, put it back down. You gotta have margin for that because that's a huge friggin' job. Can do it. If the margins are there, I'm there. Okay. Is it worth it? I think I read this question already. Do you invest in the US or strictly Canada? Strictly Canada out of time media. Not a reason. I could definitely, I definitely could invest in the US. I hear great things about some of the areas. I probably wouldn't invest in a major metropolitan, but I hear some states that don't have as large of populations are decent to invest in. You can get great cash flow and appreciation. I just invest in the market that I understand the best, which is the one that I live in. When you get older, your reflexes are lost, super competitive too, and hard to transfer that skill. I agree. You do lose the energy, but I think that the reflex is always there. Like I'll always know a good deal, even if I'm out of the market for 5 years. I'll still have a lot of these skills that are transferable and valuable. You can never really lose those skills unless you get dementia, in which case the knowledge is lost and all you have is a pile of money. At least you have a pile of money. It's better than no pile of money. Okay, I got to hit a couple more questions here, and then I got to wrap up. Seriously, guys, got to wrap up. At 100 minutes, got to wrap up.
8:36.
People are talking about gaming, like League of Legends, I think, as well is a big one I used to play, and still will play on occasion, but I just don't have any time anymore because I'm always investing in real estate. Out of time media, I have bad credit. Should I co-sign in a mortgage? There's a lot of ways to structure that we could talk about in the comments. You could find a partner who would take the deal and put it all in their name, and maybe you have a joint venture agreement that says you have a right to 50%. When you file your taxes, you own half the property, and it's all in their name. Geez, agent just sent me something. I had to send them a deposit. Things are going crazy. My phone is blowing up with texts from agents and private buyers. And geez, I got like 20 texts here. Fine, guys. We are going to keep going until I get this done. Thanks for the tip. We're learning how to do these steps properly. Yes, that's my partner in crime here, who's behind me, controlling the audio. Okay, perfect. You can hear me. Good, good, good. What's your favorite beer? You know what? I like a Rickards Red if I'm going to have like a darker beer. If I'm going to have a lighter beer, then I would go for maybe, I like some cider beers. Like there was one I had, Growers. It's fantastic. They're Granny Smith product. It's super fruity. I love it. It's like 7% alcohol though, so it destroys you if you have a few of those. I'm not actually I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I probably won't even drink tonight. I avoid alcohol for the most part. It's expensive and I get no real value from it. Let's get some more questions over here really quick before we wrap up. Do you know if there's any downside of piggybacking to improve credit score? Not a downside for you, for them potentially. No, definitely you want to take advantage of piggybacking if you need to build your credit score up. 100%. Let's keep going. A lot of value, thanks. I appreciate that. We listen to you for a living. I love that. Okay. Know any potential investors, but I don't know if they would in California. I don't know what that's relating to. I might have to scroll up further. This is how I picked up my apartment. I just listed MLS for 3 months with the worst write-up and terrible pictures. Perfect. That's the best kind of deal. Actually, the best kind of deal isn't even on the market. That's the best kind of deal. No other eyeballs, no competition. Hey, I'm a perfectionist at heart. You guys know that I like people who know me in person and real know that I'm a super perfectionist, and it bugs the hell out of me when things aren't good. I go back, Alan Lawrence, go back and check out how do you find a JV as an investor. We can talk, like I talked a little bit about some of the strategies in a previous question about what you can bring to the table and the value add there. Let's keep going here. I want to hit Don's comment. Hey, Mike, I'm a contractor and I do flips. I'm trying to build my wealth, looking for a partner with flips, put the profits into rentals. Where's the best place to find investors? What's a good approach? Yeah, out there. Social media is a fantastic way to get your name out there. A lot of people say you should be very private about what you're doing. Don't tell anyone. And I get there are downsides, right? Like obviously there are blatant downsides to putting everything out there. You're making yourself vulnerable, and there's obviously a risk to that. But I'll tell you guys, with put myself out there, I started putting myself out there on Facebook initially, just to post on Facebook. And my current partner of this, he's sitting behind the off camera here. Actually, he's in a different room right now, but he approached me like a year and a half ago and said, Mike, I hear you're killing it with 8 properties. Can we come do some deals? And we did 4 deals together. And it was only because I put myself out there. Hey, Gary, amazing. You're one of my number 1 fans. He just reached out because he found out that I've been putting myself out there that, hey, I'm doing these deals. And he said, hey, I have capital. Would you come mentor me? If I come move there, can you mentor me? And I did. And he moved here and he lived with me and I taught him everything. And he had capital, and we did a bunch of deals. We both made a ton of money. And so that was an example where you put yourself out there, you'll find them. So LinkedIn is a great place to find them. Put yourself in the comments here. There's probably a lot of really wealthy investors watching right now. I know some of them message me. So you might find someone who's willing to fund your flip. I personally, right now, I'm funding a flip for a guy here in London, and I'm not involved in the flip at all. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't know if he wants to be on social media, but I fund one of his deals right now. I wrote him a check and boom, and he's doing very well with that and giving me a great return. It's a passive investment where I'm not involved in it at all, and it's a diversity. So he's taking care of I'm doing some flipping with him effectively, right? So yeah, it's money people deals, right? And if you got the deal and you got the people, the money should come, and it should come pretty cheap. You should be able to give up only 40% of the deal and still, or even less, right? You could borrow. I would say the cheapest way to flip is to borrow hard money. Just basically say, will you secure against this property your first mortgage at, the price of the property, secure against the property, I'll renovate it, etc., and we'll be good. We're at 100 minutes. I really know I need to wrap up. Okay. I love that my wife just logged into my account and said bath time. My daughter's doing bath time. Stocks, yeah, they're risky. Yeah, hit these questions fast. The beer is getting warm. I got to go get some beer if I have the beer. I might just have some water for a bit because I'm pretty hot right now. It's 30 degrees in these these lights. You guys can't see them, but these massive lights, they're like cooking me alive right now. Do you think wholesaling works in Canada? And who do you recommend as a mentor? Drop that in the comments, Alan. I know like 3 wholesalers in London right now that are killing it. I know a bunch in Windsor, in Ontario and Canada that are just killing it. It works really, really well in almost every market. Definitely 100%. Drop in the comments. If I missed your question, put it in the comments, and I promise you I'll give you an eloquent, long response typed out. Okay. Anyway, Don, I'm sure you'll find someone to back you. If you're in Ontario, reach out to me. Maybe I'll back you. Or I might know someone who wants to back you. There's a lot of money that's doing nothing, sitting in savings accounts, that wants to be invested in real estate, but doesn't want to do any work and doesn't have any expertise. And if you have those 2 things, the money will come, and it'll come cheap. Sometimes a 10% return, 12% return. And if you're doing a 6 or 8 month flip, you can make a huge spread on that. Like your financing costs like $10,000 or $15,000 you give to that investor, and you make the rest. Don, we should talk. If you're in Toronto, we should talk. I might know someone who could fund your deals, or maybe we could do a joint venture if you got the right deal. You bring the right deal, you never know. 28 people right now. I hate to end it. 102 minutes. I got in this live stream. You guys are so loyal. I appreciate it so much. Please watch my videos. I really do need the watch time. I need that 4,000 hours so I get on that 1-year wait list to start monetizing, so my videos actually reach people, because right now YouTube purposely demonetizes my videos and makes them unfindable because they don't make any money off my videos. So yeah, anyway, that's something that like would help me get a greater reach, is if we get that past that 4,000 hours of watch time. So if you're catching the replay, please just let this run all the way through if you're getting value. 27 people live. This is great. We had like over 30. The live stream is going very, very well. I'm going to keep doing it every single Wednesday. Next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Check it out, guys. As always, spend less, earn more, and maximize your returns to unlock a wealthier you. Today's pro tip was money, people, deal. And that's right. Yeah, Kyle, that's right. Okay, I got to go. Hi, Emma. We are going to end the live stream now. Dad's live on the stream. My daughter's in the room now, so we're definitely wrapping it up. She's so cute. I wish I could tilt the camera to show you guys. Oh. Thanks, guys, so much for joining me for the live stream. I am going to now wrap this up, and I got to meet that investor. Got to put my daughter to bed. So many things on the go, but such is life when you're a busy family guy trying to be a real estate investor, trying to help you guys on YouTube. Hey, Dad's on camera right now. All right, we're ending the live stream, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate all the people that came on here. And if you have questions, as always, put them in the comments down below. If you have an idea for a video you want me to shoot, please let me know in the comments below. I will shoot that video for you guys. If you've given me a suggestion on a previous video and I haven't shot that video for you yet, just keep spamming me on the next video. Mike, I want to see a video on this. Mike, I want to see a video on this. And I will do it, I promise. My daughter's crawling under my chair right now. This is fantastic. I have to let you guys go now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys next Wednesday, as always, and I'll have another video for you guys very soon. You want to sit too? All right, we're gonna go now. Bye, YouTube.